Hello, I got a haircut. It's very shorter than I wanted, but it's okay. It'll grow back. It's very convenient though, I will say that. Anyways, hi, welcome back. I wasn't sure what to talk about again. I feel like a lot of people connected with my most recent talking video. I'm sure there are so many people out there who are going through what I went through, specifically with difficult relationships and divorce and things like that. If that's you, I'm really sorry. That really freaking sucks. I just want to say that. But something that I really grew passionate about because of that experience is what I think I'm going to talk about in today's video. I've had people reach out to me both in the past and after that video, asking to just kind of like share a little bit more about my experience and talk them through like what they're going through. And obviously everybody's situation is a little bit different, but at the end of the day, I think a lot of people are in really hard situations in their relationships and they're not really sure what to do. Yeah, so basically I'm pretty passionate about talking to people who are not in that position yet, or maybe can still get out and are just afraid to do so. This video is for you. Now, I can only speak from my own experience, obviously. At least for this video, I will only speak from my own experience. And my experience is that I'm a woman who was married to a man and had a lot of pressures put on me. Actually, I won't even say that. I'm going to take ownership. I had a lot of pressure that I put on myself about staying in this relationship for as long as I did. So that's who I'm talking to. If that's not you, I know there are so many different types of relationships out there. If you are not a woman who is in a relationship with a man, but you would still like to listen, I do think a lot of this would be relevant to you if you're just talking about like the relationship stuff. But I also think that there are things about my specific situation that may not be relevant. Like, I think my Korean Christian background really does impact why I felt the way that I did. So that might not be relevant to you, but maybe some parts of it will be. I don't know. Basically, I just wanted to disclaimer that I know that there are so many different types of relationships out there and I'm speaking from my own experience. So ladies, I'm talking to you. Okay, so the main point of my video is that also, I think I'm a little bit nervous because I feel like what I'm gonna say is kind of a hot take, or it could be a hot take. I just feel like everyone gets so angry all the time these days. Just take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm just telling you my opinion. You don't have to do this, but this is just what I think based on what I went through. Okay, so this is gonna be my main point. You do not have to stay with him. That's my point. I could just end the video. Guys, you don't have to stay with him. I'm specifically also talking to people who are not married yet. I know that once you get married, it makes it so much harder to leave. And there are just so many things with that. I would never want you to take away from my channel or my videos to say, Sharon is telling everybody to get divorced or Sharon is telling everybody to break up. That's not what I'm saying. I just think that there is an unhealthy amount of pressure for people to stay together out of fear, out of expectations, out of cultural or societal pressure, out of the fact that you've been together for such a long time. Like, there are so many things that are making people stay together and it shouldn't. And I know it's so scary to break up and I know it's so scary to leave a relationship that you've been in such a long time. And I know that you probably really, really love him, but if it's not good, it's not good. Now again, I'm gonna do another disclaimer and say, I don't think that people should be like not committed in relationships. I'm not saying like the moment that he doesn't buy you flowers and you wanted flowers, you should leave, or that you should compare him to your friends' partners and he's not living up to that and so you should leave. Like, there are dumb reasons to leave a relationship, and I do think that a lot of people have issues with commitment for different reasons, like personal reasons, or I don't know, as a society I do feel like we're all about instant gratification these days. That's a different video or a different topic or whatever. So I'm not saying just leave once you're unsatisfied in the relationship. But if you've tried and you've tried and you've tried and you have given it your all and there are consistent red flags and there are consistently things where he makes you feel a certain type of way, or you're walking on eggshells all the time, or you have tried to talk to him about it and he's not a safe person for you, hopefully physically he's a safe person for you, but even emotionally, like you're scared to bring things up and it's not comfy, you don't have to stay. I'm giving you permission to leave. Am I allowed to say that? The reason behind all of this is because I really felt like I needed to stay. And I'm not saying that I regret it. I really don't. If you watched my previous video where I talk about stuff like this, it's my, I started my life over at 30 video. I very much emphasize that I don't regret it. And I really, really don't. Because it led me to where I am today. It led me to my husband, Daniel, my kids, my current life. It's amazing. And honestly, it led me to who I am today. The reason that I'm sitting in front of you and making this video is because of what I went through. And honestly, I wouldn't change that. Not because I want to be sitting here making this video for you, but because my relationship with God got so much stronger and my faith just like really solidified. My perception of God really solidified. My identity as a daughter of God really solidified. Like, there are so many things that I learned because of what happened. I would not take any of that back for the world. But it was really freaking hard. And what I'm telling you is that if that is your path, like if God chooses that that is your path of life for you, great. You may end up where I am today in the sense that like you're going to learn all this stuff. And I'm not talking about like the current tangible life that I have. I'm talking about like your identity. Like maybe you'll grow and maybe you'll learn things about yourself that you wouldn't have been able to learn otherwise. That's great. That I would love that for you, but it's really freaking hard. And I think that a lot of girls and young women underestimate how hard it is to be in a relationship that isn't good. And I think that we give ourselves a lot of credit on how much we can handle and how committed we are to this person and how it's going to get better and it's going to be okay. It might. It totally might. Your person might just need someone like you to stay with them and love on them and commit to them and all this stuff. Sometimes your role in this person's life is extremely important, and I think God uses that, and I think it's really, really good. But at the same time, you don't have to stay to be their savior or to be the person that will like fix them or like anything like that. That's not your job, and quite honestly, you are not that great. You will help and it will help, but at the end of the day, they need to do their own work. They need to figure it out themselves. And if you become codependent on each other in those ways, it's just going to be really, really hard. I do think there's probably like 1% of the world out there where God really calls person A to be with person B and to stay with them and to, I don't know, really commit to this person. And they have a really strong conviction. I did too. I really did. That's why I stayed with my ex-husband. I really felt like I should stay and that I was really committed. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but I think I was kind of committed for the wrong reasons, but I, again, don't regret it. So maybe I wasn't. I don't really know. It's really confusing. But I do think that there are people out there who are convicted and committed for the right reasons. Like God truly called them to be with this person. And I think those people are incredible and strong, and God's really going to use them in different ways that will be different than other situations. I think a lot of the times we feel like we are convicted or committed to this person because really it's about something else. Like maybe we're fearful that if we leave, other people will judge us or they'll call us not committed. Or maybe our culture or our religion tells us that if we were really loving or we were really showing the love of Christ or something like that, then we would stay. Those narratives I think are not true, because you are not a not committed person for wanting to leave a relationship that's like really hard and really bad for you. Again, I'm not saying that you should only be in relationships that are good for you or that serve you a purpose. Obviously, that's not possible, and that's not Christ-like either. But again, if you've been with this person for a long time and you have shown them the love of Christ and you've really tried to make it work and I don't know, all these things, but there are so many red flags, just know that it's not going to get better necessarily. I'm being careful. I really want to say it's not going to get better, but I don't know that. So I will leave a caveat there to say it could get better, but it probably won't. If anything, it probably won't get better in the way that you think it will. Maybe it'll like get better here and there, or it'll change a little bit. But basically, it's going to be really hard. And the rest of your life is a really long time for you to be with this person forever. That's what you're committing to when you get married. If you're not married yet, then you don't have to commit to that yet, and you can still leave and it'll be okay. I know it's scary to break up. I really do. This has never happened to me before, so I'm going to say this very carefully. But even if you are at the altar and you paid $40,000 for a wedding, but you're really not sure, or you don't really want to marry him, like with all of your heart, you're not like so excited to marry him, I don't think it's worth it. It'll be horrible when you break up, but living every single day with someone that you shouldn't have married is really, really hard. I just want to give whoever's listening to this, who needs to hear this, I just want to give you a little bit of freedom and encouragement that it's okay. It doesn't mean anything about you. It doesn't say that you're a bad person or that you've given up on this person or that you're not a committed person or that you're not obeying God. Like, I want to leave room for the people where that might be true, like for people who are just like fleers. Obviously, there are people who are not committed, but I'm talking to the people that really tried and are having a really hard time letting go, even though in their heart they know this is not it. It's not right. I just want to give you a little bit of freedom. I really commend people who stay and make it work and even though it's really freaking hard every single day, they are committed to their partner, whether that's their spouse or their boyfriend or their fiance. But I think those people are specifically called to that person and they have made a choice. And I think that not everybody has to be in that position because of things that they have been told by other people or because of things that they feel like is the right thing to do. Based on what? Based on like some older, more spiritual person telling you that you have to stay, otherwise you're like not a good Christian or something. That's not right. I'm not saying that's not accurate. I'm saying like that's like not cool. Like that's not right, you know? I talk to people now who are married and not married. I talk to people randomly about this because they know what I've been through, so they just want to like pick my brain. And it's kind of the same thing when I talk to a lot of people, mostly girls, who are struggling with letting go of somebody that they know is not good for them. Like maybe they're good for somebody else. I do agree with the quote that says like the right person at the wrong time is the wrong person. I think timing really does matter. So I'm not saying this person is not somebody that, you know, anyone should marry or that like is a bad person. Like maybe it's just not the right person for you. I don't know. Or maybe it's just not the right time. But I think people need to figure things out on their own, and you are not the person to make sure that they're okay. I also think that people have a hard time letting go when maybe they don't think that they deserve better, or maybe they don't think they can do better, or maybe they just can't even fathom being with somebody else because they've been with this person for so long. A lot of these things are just rooted in fear. Like it's a huge change. And the moment that I realized that we were actually going to get divorced, it was freaking terrifying. It was like, I can't even imagine my life without this person. Even with all the bad things, my day-to-day with this person is just all I know, and it's all I've known for so long. So how can my life look any different and be okay? But you grow and you adapt, and it turns out to be okay. And if you watch my other video, when I say okay, I'm not saying that you're going to find somebody else who's going to be perfect for you and your life is going to be amazing. That's not what I mean by okay. I mean that life will move on, people will get over it. It'll be hard, but it'll be okay. Like you'll figure it out. And if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, just add on however many years it would take you to be 80 or 90 years old. That's probably like how many years people live these days. Actually, I don't know if that's true, but let's say you live till 80 or 90 years old. If you're 30 and you have 50 to 60 years left, is that good math? Yeah. That's a long time. And imagine your day with this person every single day for the next 50 to 60 years. Throw in some children if you end up having children. That is a really miserable life that you did not have to do. If you want to commit and you have your reasons, hey, I am team you. I was that person. I really wanted people to support me, and it was my own journey. You know, I'm sure there are people out there who would hear my story and be like, Sharon, I told you so. You shouldn't have married him. I am grateful that I married him. I feel like I'm contradicting myself now, but the point is, hopefully you are a mature, thoughtful person that can make your own decisions as an adult, especially a decision like who to marry. But if I'm like your older sister, or I'm somebody that you kind of respect because I went through something similar to what you're going through and you kind of care about what I'm saying, I'm giving you the freedom to consider that you don't have to stay with him. If you end up wanting to stay with him, fine. That's your choice. It's not going to be easy, but that's your choice. And I respect that. I think people make that choice and it is very commendable. Like I truly respect how patient and how loving and how Christ-like they are to their person, who quite frankly like doesn't seem like they deserve it sometimes. But if you're not that person and you end up leaving this relationship, I will also applaud you for your courage and your decisiveness, and also your ability to know that your worth is not in this relationship, but that it is in God, and that you are a child of God, and you don't have to marry this person to be loved by God. So I will commend you for that too. It's extremely difficult to leave somebody. And again, if you're married, it's like a whole nother thing. That's like a whole nother topic. I'm specifically talking to people who are not married yet. I think it's one of the bravest things to leave a relationship that you don't think is right. The one really smart thing that I did in my previous relationship, in my previous marriage, is not having children with him. I cannot tell you how grateful I am every single day that I did not have children with him. I cannot imagine raising a child with somebody that I did not want to raise a child with. The things that you have to teach your kids and the decisions you make every single day around your kids, the ways that you interact with them, the ways that you see your partner interacting with them, the ways that you trust your partner to interact with them. I can't imagine raising children with somebody that I don't trust all the time. My heart is beating so fast right now, like thinking about how I could have had children with my ex. Like, it's just like, oh my gosh, that would have been so bad. I'm just so thankful that we did not. And I will give credit to both sides. We were both very on the same page about that. So think about that too. Do you want to have children with this person? Do you trust them to raise your children? Do you trust them to have hard conversations with your children? If you are not from the same faith or you don't have the same core values, do you trust them to teach them things that you would not agree with? Do you trust that your children will see their behavior when they're upset or angry or whatever and grow up to be like that? I'm not saying you have to marry somebody who's perfect. Don't hear what I'm not saying. Nobody's perfect. Everybody's depraved. Everybody sucks. But at the end of the day, if you really trust the character of your person, that's who you want to marry and that's who you want to have kids with. If you have to walk on eggshells every day and you see all these red flags and nothing is changing and you're just scared to leave because of whatever reason, maybe that's not the person that you should marry. Okay, I feel like I missed a lot in this video. I feel like there's a lot of things I wanted to say that I probably didn't. Also, I feel like I'm, again, afraid of being misunderstood in this video, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. I think it's important. I'll probably talk about this again because I am truly passionate about it. Also, I don't know if I went back to the things I said I was gonna go back to. I think one of the things was maybe talking about like why I felt like I had to stay. It was probably, yeah, it was just my Christian Korean background. I felt like if I didn't stay, then I was a not committed person or whatever. I had many reasons why I stayed, but that was one of them. I was told a lot of things. You can be happy. It is possible. It might take longer. You might be single for longer. Your friends might be all getting married and having kids. You're literally watching your 30s go by, maybe your 40s go by. I don't know. And I know that I don't have the most credibility to say this because I am married right now, but after having been in such a hard marriage, I would rather be single forever, and that was my plan, to be single forever, than to be married to somebody where I probably could feel miserable every single day. I was not miserable every day, I'm not gonna say that, but it was really freaking hard. And the thought of living like that every single day for the rest of my life until I turned 80 or 90 or 100 was really, really scary. And I literally had to deal with it in different ways. There were times that I wanted to die. It's true. I really did. There were times that I just dissociated and I just literally went to different parts of the world in my brain. And I was like, what would it be like to live there? Like, it was really hard. You don't have to do that. If you're not married, you can still get out. Even if you are married, you can still get out. But it's a lot harder. Not because of like the legal stuff, just morally. Like, I'm speaking as a believer and like all the things surrounding divorce from the Bible and stuff like that. It's just a harder decision to make. If you have kids, that's even harder. Like, I can't even imagine if you have kids, how hard that would be to make that kind of decision. Okay, I'm gonna end this here. I hope I didn't trigger anybody. I hope I made sense. Write down in the comments if there's anything you want me to clarify or if you have any questions about what I said. I don't know. Let's talk about it. Either way, I'm rooting for you. Seriously. Be a grown, self-respecting, careful, thoughtful person in your decisions, especially in regards to who you marry. Okay, that's it. Okay, bye.